science communication is twofold. One is communicating science with other scientists, or we call it share with the scientific community. Vidyatmaka Vidyajnan Atara Sannivedana. That's how science progresses. We have been doing this for, number of years, and we have, you all have written number of articles, number of, abstracts, papers, extended abstracts, so on and so forth. Now we are about to disseminate your findings or finalize your abstract. That's for the scientific community. Peer reviewing, all we call sharing with other scientists, and finally they will endorse it. This is a new finding. The other part is communicating science with the general public, lay people, and the community at large. The scientific knowledge in the community, ප්‍රජාවේ තිබෙන විද්‍යාත්මක දැනුම අපි කියනවා විද්‍යා සාක්ෂරතාවය කියලා. Scientific literacy. That is, scientific literacy is one of the parameters to measure the well-being of the society or level of the society. It's other ලෝකයේ ජාත්‍යන්තර සංවිධාන තිබෙනවා අපිට සම්බන්ධ. They are working on scientific literacy and also the measuring scientific literacy and making tools to measure scientific literacy, because if they are literate in science, Sakshara Bhave Tibenon now, they will apply science to their day-to-day life, especially when they make decisions in their life. Personally, and also the village level, the community level, and also as a country at large. අපි දන්නවා ගොඩක් එහෙම නැති හින්දා තමයි අපිට මේ ගොඩක් ප්‍රශ්න මතුවලා තිබෙන්නේ. So no doubt, no question, increasing the scientific literacy of a society, of a country is important. Some of the detail, some of this information we discussed earlier, but I'm telling again because this is the third time. Tatyampi, Dutiyampi, we can concretize something. Lay summaries are already commonly used by researchers in many subject areas. Not only science, but some subject areas are more versatile with, easy to convert to lay summaries. Increase the possibility of collaboration. That is very important. Even though we do science, agricultural scientists should collaborate with the farming community. Those who work on fisheries or fisheries science, aquatic biology, they need to collaborate with the relevant stakeholders. And some funding bodies also, they ask, for this lay abstract or lay papers. Writing such summaries, as Manoj very correctly mentioned, and also again that we heard that distilling your work into a portable and maximally accessible form can bring many benefits for your wider interactions with society at large. So in this process, we are not translating your technical abstract into Sinhala, or we just change some words and make it more readable. So you have to get the whole story into your mind first. That you need to do that. Best thing is if you can tell your story, the importance, the background, and also how did you do, and also the findings to somebody, then your mind will get a clear picture. Story. That story is very important. Make it on a kathaවක් වගේ තමයි කියන්න ඕනේ. මොකද මේක අර අපිට find figures decimals වැඩක් නැහැ. ජනතාවට ඕන public ඕන මොකද්ද කරේ ඇයි ඒක කරේ what is the importance and also ඒකේ findings මොනවද ඒ findings නැත්නම් ප්‍රතිඵල කොහොමද අපේ day to day life එකට වැදගත් වෙන්නේ කියන එක පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්. සමහර ඒවා එහෙමම පාවිච්චි කරන්න බෑ. නමුත් we can give some light to that field. Then they will think that in future this will work. එහෙම අපිට කියන්න. And also sharing this large number of findings of the association with the public definitely increase the credibility and the importance of our association among the public. නැත්නම් අර කිව්වාගේ මේක හිතන්නේ alien body එකක් කියලා. No link with the society. That's and also that for me that when we again distilling the information, we also realize better than earlier. එකත් අපේ ඇතුළේ තියෙන process එකක්. Among the other things, this is important for press release. When you work with the media, press, and also when you are communicating with journalists, it is always important to have a lay summary written by the author. Because otherwise the journalist will come and discuss with you and later he will produce a article. We have experienced that the final product is not exactly the same as the original work. There may be some distortions or exaggerations. And this is a communication skill worth learning. We all know that communicating skill is a soft skill, important in many endeavors. So you will develop your communication skill by doing this exercise. So what is a lay summary? This is again that you heard this earlier as well. I will just go through. Your technical abstract will read your peers and also the scientific audience. They have their cognition. Their brains are trained to absorb those technical jargon and they need it. So that's why that you need to give all finer points, decimals, then only they will judge your work, especially the reviewers. In addition, researchers are often asked by their universities and funders to communicate this with the general public. Clear dissemination of accurate information provide recognition in academic as well as the non-academic fields. Additionally, summaries demonstrate the potential of your research to policymakers, resulting in an increase of public spending on research. We don't know what will happen here, but anyway, slowly that if you can motivate policymakers, by disseminating, at least some of them will get a more clearer picture of the research we are conducting, and one day that will lead to increase funding for research. We can convince the society, we can convince the policymakers easily by doing this, transforming this into a plain language. More importantly, lay summaries enable to grant reviewers to evaluate the potential of real-world applications. Okay, now we are coming to the real subject, how to transform your material. There are a few points. Point 1, answer the questions what, where, when, why, and how. It is very important. So Nalak also showed us two pyramids-like figures, triangles. So the lay summary always should explain the background broadly, and also why we have done this, and also where and how. That's the story. Rationally, you have to give in a more appealing way and also understandable way. Here that when we write scientific abstract, always we give, especially in zoology and botany and environmental sciences, scientific names of animals, species, and animal species and plants. Here also you can mention once, but thereafter you can use more common names. So then only that we can convince, sense the audience that anyway that we need to attract them to get them read. ඒගොල්ලන්ට කියවීම සඳහා උනන්දුවක් ඇති වෙන විදිහට කියන්න පුළුවන් the first part. Your summary must clearly answer questions related to your research for easy comprehension by all readers, and also outline the article answering those questions in a short, concise way. Keep it succinct. මේකේ තියෙන්න ඕන ලියනකොට කතාව, ස්ටෝරි ලයින් එකක් තියෙනවා. අපි හැමෙන් කෑලි අඩු කරොත් පැන්නොත් jumps, lay people can't understand. So write in simple English or Sinhala or Tamil, keeping all the relevant information. So don't miss the important relevant information for your lesson. And they don't need that all statistical jargon and all. But convincingly you can say, this is what we did and this is the find. And also for better approach, imagine that you are explaining your research to a distant family member who does not have scientific background. ඒකයි කිව්වේ මුලින්ම අපි කාට හරි කියනවා වගේ කතාව කියලා ඒක ලියනවා නම් හොඳයි. So what I do is මේ සේරමටි ගලවලා කෑලි එළියට ගන්න. එළියට අරගෙන ආපහු rebuild that to suit to the general public. එහෙම නැතුව අපි එක හරපාන්න ගියොත් අර තියෙන sequence එක එහෙමම අපිට ඒක එන්නේ. Even the very famous, eminent communicators say, even when you develop a PowerPoint presentation, better to do in several pieces of paper, and then you can put into the story. You have to make the story in your mind. අපේ හිතේ හදාගත්ත කතාව තමයි ඊට පස්සේ මේකට හරවන්න ඕනේ. Because these are two different things, two different aspects. Communicating science with fellow scientists and communicating science with the general public. පටන් ගන්න තැනත් අපිට එහා මෙහා කරන්න පුළුවන්. Background, and finally if we can relate it to a day-to-day life, also important. I will come to that point. Number 3, avoid jargon and minimize technicalities. Use regular English word and get rid of complex terms. Neurons or nerves කියන්න පුළුවන්. Apoptosis වෙනකොට cell death කියන්න පුළුවන්. අපි ලියනවා සමහර වෙලාවට hyperglycemia. We can use blood sugar or diabetes mellitus or whatever, the simple language. that's how we can reduce the technical jargon. අපිට මේක අඩු කරන්න පුළුවන්. නමුත් අපිට තියන්නම ඕන තැනක නම් technical term එක තියලා ඒකේ තේරුම ඊට පස්සේ ලියන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙමත් කරන්න පුළුවන්. මොකද සමහර ඒවා තියෙනවා අපිට වෙන වචනයක් කියන්න බෑ. One example, photosynthesis, ප්‍රභා සංශ්ලේෂණය මොකක්ද කියන එක ඊට පස්සේ අපි කියන්න ප්‍රභා සංශ්ලේෂණය දැන් දන්නවා. බොහෝ දෙනෙක් අපි මේකේ ටාගට් කරනකොටත් maybe we can target the general public. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ level එක අපි හිතුවොත් DC O level වගේ level එකක්. මොකද ඒක දැන් කාටත් ඒක compulsory නිසා O level එකට 14 year of education අපිට ඒ වගේ මට්ටමක් හිතාගෙන ලියන්න පුළුවන්. Not the grassroots level. එතකොට අපිට අපේ මේ අපි ඒ එක level එකක් අපි හිතාගෙන අපිට ලිව්වොත් වඩා ලේසි. Use first person. මේකත් වෙනසක් තියෙනවා. අපි තියෙනකොට ලියන්නේ scientific writing always we follow not the active voice, passive voice. It was agreed, it was suggested, it was shown. But මේක අපිට we agreed අපි මෙහෙම කරා මෙහෙම ලැබුණා. First person විදියට ලියුවොත් තමයි වඩා හොඳ. active voice එකකින් කියනවා තමයි හොඳ. එතකොට වඩා close ඕන එක active voice එකකින් කියනවා. අර reporting language එක මේකේ communicating language. communicating. එක වෙනසක් අපි මේකේ පාවිච්චි කරනවා. Justify your research. Yes, I already mentioned about the rationale. Explain how your research will help in solving real world problems. සමහර ඒවා එකපාරට විසඳෙන්නේ නැහැ. නමුත් ඒ පැත්තට තියෙන finding එකක්. One example I can remember when we conducted the school science research competition through a National Science Foundation. Some students worked on anti-cancer agents of different vegetables, fruits and all. Even they won the international prize. I mean, grand award from International Science and Engineering Fair. Journalist segment කතා කරලා සිද්ධිය අරගෙන පත්තරේ දාන්නේ දැන් පිළිකාව කපුවොත් පිළිකාව ඉවරයි. නමුත් අපි දන්නවා there's a long gap between the usage of that chemical as a drug and also the finding. එවනට අපි මේකේ පැත්තට support එකක් green light එකක් කියන එක අපි කියනවා. That's why I very clearly mentioned here predict and cover its potential impact on society, but don't give false or exaggerated promises. ගාක් වෙලාවට ජර්නලිස්ට්ලා කියනකොට publicity වලට ඒගොල්ලෝ ලියන්නේ titles වල සේරම ලියන්නේ exaggerated version එකක් ලියන්නේ. We have to write real science there also. එක point එකක් important point එකක් when you convert into a lay language. Follow logical order. Ensure well organization of the summary and furthermore explain every aspect of your research clearly. About technical details අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. කොහොමද කරේ කියන එක විතරයි අවශ්‍ය වන්නේ. මොකද එහෙම කරොත් කිව්වොත් විතරයි you can convince the people, not the final product only. Final product එක විතරක් කියනවා නම් ඒකට summary එකක් ඕනේ නැහැ. Final product එක විතරක් news එකක් හැටියට කියන්න පුළුවන්. So that is one fold we have in our science education system. ඇත්තටම scientific methodology උගන්වන්නේ logic කියන subject එකට. මොකද අපිට උගන්වන්නේ මේ අගහරි විතරයි findings විතරයි. Then we don't know how many times they fail. All great scientists. Finally they succeeded, but we don't know about. But the logic, I mean arts stream people, they know about all the scientists and how they work. So the make it method එකත් එක්ක ගියොත් තමයි you can convince, you can motivate others to think differently. එතකොට තමයි ඒගොල්ලෝ activate වෙන්නේ ඒගොල්ලෝ researchers හැටියට, especially the young generation. Do not jump to conjecture. This may confuse. I mean, jumps ගැන අපි ඉස්සෙල්ලා කිව්වා අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Include graphics. අපි සාමාන්‍ය abstracts වල graphics දාන scientific abstracts වල rarely we incorporate, but here that you can incorporate images, graphics, at least one or two, then non-academic readers to comprehend your research in a better way. That will help to comprehend the research in a better way. ඒකත් අපිට තියෙනවා මේ දාන්න පුළුවන්කම තියෙනවා වැඩි කරලා. Don't oversimplify. ඕනෑමට වඩා simplify කරන්න ගියොත් your product, your information may get distorted. අවුල් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. සුවඳ වෙනස් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So while trying to make it simple, ensure that the essence of your research is not missed out. So I can remember once that we invited very strong science communicator from India, Dr. D. Balasubramaniam. He was the head of the research, eye research institute at Hyderabad. He was the writer for Hindu, science writer for Hindu. Even Watson and Crick visited Doordarshan. He is one of the compeers who interviewed Watson and Crick. He write articles on others' findings. Anikage publications, balle articles liyana. Hamela meyak, he sent the final article to the original author to get the consent and also to check whether any distortion has occurred in his written article. එහෙම තමයි ඒගොල්ලෝ කියන්නේ වෙලා ගියාට දැන් නම් ඊමේල් කරන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම කළා තමයි sometimes in US, Canada, elsewhere, outside the country. ඒක වැදගත් වෙනවා. ඒ ලියපු ලේ summary එකේ ensure that essence of your research is not missed out or distorted. The reader must clearly understand what the research is about and how it will affect the society. Finally, that's also important. That's the hook to the public. So, number 9, ask peer and non-scientist person to read it. So, select one peer and also a non-scientist person to read your lay summary before you submit to the SLAAS. Why? It is important. Let your peer read the lay summary to make sure that the science is correct. Rachel Carson, she herself was an aquatic scientist. But when he wrote the famous book that Silent Spring, to change the whole scenario, he sent her book to the panel of scientists to check whether the science is correct, what she produced. That's why she could fight against the Monsanto and other huge multinational organizations, companies, against the deadly agrochemicals, insecticides and pesticides. I mean, after the publishing the book, the Kennedy, the then president of USA, appointed the scientific body to check whether what she said is correct. So she was okay because she got consent, she got approved, she got book was reviewed by a panel of scientists before publishing. It is very important that, and also you again, whereas non-academic friend or family member will let you know if it is easy to understand and clearly explain. So then your lay summary will be endorsed by both sides. The science is correct and also understandable to the public. If they have questions after reading, you can revamp it and also develop more. Those are the important points to discuss with you. And in a nutshell, make reasonable assumptions about grade level, vocabulary, prior experience, and also interests of the audience, English or Sinhala. Practice a verbal explanation with someone from your audience. So that's what I told you, to tell the story to a lay person. Then you will get a good feedback whether it is understandable or palatable or not. Start writing by using a simple headline followed by a brief and relevant synopsis in common language. Then you can expand it, incorporating others. Read your draft aloud, then revise. That's also another way of doing this. Just like a television script, you read it aloud. Then you may that you will realize that you need to change some parts of your paper. Check readability, statistics, and simplify as needed, and have both lay audience and peer scientists read your summary to assure that it is accessible to the public while remaining true to the science. So you need to balance both in this lay summary. But by doing this, if you do it wholeheartedly, I'm telling you frankly, it will be a pleasure for you, and also you will develop that communication skill into a much higher level, and that will help you to participate in the media discussions and writing articles to the newspapers and all, so on and so forth. In fact, in 10-15 years back, we invited the person I mentioned earlier, Professor D. Bal Subramaniam, and the other person, Bal Ponki, to Sri Lanka through National Science Foundation, and we trained 30 scientists as journalists. And after that, we have conducted 4 or 5 regional workshops also. Some of them must have participated in those workshops as well. So it is important to increase the scientific literacy in our society, our own society, our own country. So I think that finally, that I wish you all the best and good luck. Thank you.